Hey, what's up guys, it's Theo from Concept. So today we are going to create a CV or a resume in Adobe Photoshop. Basically this over here. So let's just get started. Welcome to Concept. Click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Alright, so let's open up our application. For this tutorial, I'm using Photoshop CC 2018 and I'll go ahead and create a new document. So File, click on New, and I'm going to set my document type to International Paper and the size is A4. So click on OK. Now go to View and click on New Guide Layout and make sure that the preset is set to Custom and Columns is checked. Now set the number to 1 and the width to 3 inches and I'll click on OK. Now the first thing I'm going to do is create a group and call this left, and I'll grab the rectangle tool, and I'll draw a rectangle like so, and I'll make it very huge just to cover up this area. So something like this should be just fine. Now I'm going to duplicate this rectangle by hitting Ctrl J or just clicking and dragging onto the new layer icon, and I'll reduce the size to something like this. So let's go ahead and create another group in this and call this header. So in the header group, I'm going to click and drag the smaller rectangle inside, so that's going to be this, and I'm going to click and drag my image in there. Obviously this is the image I'm going for, so I'll place it somewhere around here. Now this time around I'm going to be using the ellipse tool, and I'll click one time and set the width and height to the same number of pixels. So mine is 100 by 100, and I'll use the move tool to resize it. So I'll make it something like so, and I'll place it somewhere around here. Now mind you, it should be smaller than our rectangle, so I'll place it somewhere around here, and I'll click and drag that circle beneath our image. So with the image selected, just right click and go to create clipping mask. So we have this. Now I want to vary the rectangles I have in here so that I can call one background. You know what, the big one, let's call it background, and I'll double click on that thumbnail and make it lighter. So somewhere around CE should be just fine for me, and I'll click on OK. Now for this rectangle, I want it to be let's try red. So I'll just sample a red color from here, or probably let's just go with blue. So I think I'll be going with blue instead. So that is 3DA4EC, and I'll click on OK. So in our header group, I'm going to create another group and call this the header text. So all the information I type is going to be in here. So let's start with our first information. That's going to be resume, and I'll just click and drag that to the top right here and increase the size to somewhere around 30, and the color I will make it completely white. Now the font I'm going with is Unisans throughout, so I'll probably be varying between Unisans heavy and Unisans regular for this entire tutorial. I'll try and leave a link in the description below. So I'll place resume somewhere around here. Now usually I'll just highlight everything. I'll go to the character options and I'll click on the underline to create some sort of line beneath it. If you don't have the character options, just go to window and click on character right here. That's just going to make it pop up like so. So currently this is what we have for these two layers, that is the ellipse and the image. I'm just going to bring them down using my down arrow key so that I have a little bit of space to work with. Now for the rectangle, which is the blue rectangle over here, I'm just going to extend it a little bit like so. This way I'll be able to type in my name also. So that's what I'm going to do now. So let's type it in as Theo Lavi, and I'll just click and drag that also here. Now I want this to be aligned perfectly, but I still don't have the alignment. So I'll just select any of these two rectangles and I'll use their center as the center for all my text. So I just click and drag the rulers. If you don't have the rulers, just use Ctrl R to bring up the rulers. So I'll just click and drag from the edge and I'll place it at the center like so. So this is going to be my reference point or my center alignment for all the text I'm going to be creating. Now for Theo Lavi, I'm not going to be using the underlined text, and neither am I going to be using the heavy font, so I'll change this to regular and place this somewhere around here. I think this is looking okay to me, but the position of the text is not nice to me, so I'll just click and drag this beneath like so. Now everything is looking centered, so I'll go ahead and close this group up. So for the first group, which is the header group, we have all of this information in there. Now the next thing is to create another group in the left group, and I'll call this the contacts group. So COT blah 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 blah, and this time around I'll be using the rounded rectangle tool. So I'll set my radius to about 50 pixel, and I'll create a rounded rectangle like so, not too huge, just for now. So with my move tool selected, I'll bring this somewhere around here. Again, using this line as my center point, I'll place it at the center like so, and I'll double click on it and change the color to the main color I'm using, which is this blue, and I'll click on OK. Now I'll grab my type tool, making sure that the foreground color is set white, so that everything I type is also going to be white. I'm just going to type in contact, and I'll place this inside that rectangle we created, but the rectangle is smaller, so I'm going to reduce the size of my text also. So I think around 24 should be okay, and I'll place it somewhere around here. Now I'm going to type in the rest of my text. So we start with the location, followed by the phone number, followed by the rest. Okay, again, I'll reduce the size to about 14. I think 14 should be perfect for this. Now, because the font is white, I don't think I like the white, so I'll change everything to black so that it kind of blends in with the design. Now I'll just grab some icons I have in here. That's going to be the Facebook icon, the Instagram icon, and the Twitter icon. I'll just click and drag those in here like so. Currently they are all white. I actually want to change it to this particular blue color. So with the Instagram selected, that'll be the first. I'll go to FX, the effect panel, and I'll click on color overlay, and I'll set a color overlay to this specific color and click on OK. Now the idea is to copy this same effect and apply onto Facebook and Twitter. So what I'll do is I'll just right click and go to copy layer style, select both of these, right click and go to paste layer style. So this is just going to paste them on top of that. So if I turn on the eyeball for both of them, you can see. Now I'm going to select everything and use my move tool to resize them whilst holding down Shift and Alt, because I think they are too huge, and I'll place them somewhere around here. So let's spread them out a little bit. So Facebook will be here and Instagram will also be here. So I think my text should also move slightly to the edge like so. Okay, now we need a location icon, we need a phone icon. I don't think I have those at the moment. Okay, I think I have a phone icon right here, so I'll just click and drag that one also in. Now I right click and rasterize this up because I just want to take out these options. So using the magic wand, I'll just create a selection with the white part and I'll hit delete on my keyboard. Now I'm just going to copy this same layer style and apply it. So right click and I'll go to paste layer style, and that same thing is going to be pasted onto this. So I'll move this also somewhere around here. Now it's left to the last thing, which is the location icon, but okay, I have one here, so I'll click and drag that also in. Wow, this is huge. So I'll reduce the size to something like this, and I'll right click, paste layer paste layer style, and I'll place that also somewhere around here. You know what, I think the fonts are too close to each other, so again, window, character, and I'm going to increase the distance between each individual word. So I'm going to set it to about 24. Now yours might be different depending on the size of your document. Now the last thing will be for the email. and I don't have one. So you know what, I'll just open this up in Photoshop and I'll try to steal this from here. So what I'll be using is the polygonal lasso tool because it allows me to create perfect straight lines for my selection. You can also use the pen tool if you want, but I think this is a little bit faster for me. So I'll just right click, go to layer via cut. Now I have it, I can just cut and paste it on top like so, and I think I have to resize this a little bit, so something like so should be okay, and I'll place this also somewhere here. Now unfortunately for me, this is not the color I want, so what I will do is I'll just use the polygonal lasso tool. I'll just create a selection. So once I'm done, I'll just hit delete on my keyboard and I'll paste that same layer style in there. Now you can go ahead and double click and name all of these individual layers so that at any point in time when you want to change or make changes to it, is going to be a lot easier for you. But this is a tutorial, I don't want this to be too lengthy, so I'll leave this as that. Now we are done with the contact. There are a few things we have to add. So for the contact and rounded rectangle we just created, which has these two, I'll just duplicate them hitting Ctrl J and I'll place them on top. The reason why I'm doing this is I want the exact same thing to be here because I'll be creating one more information here. So that information is going to be personal info, so I'll type it in here like so, or better still, let's make it profile. I think profile is a lot easier. Now I have a Word document which contains all the information I want to put in there, so I'll just copy that information and I'll come and paste it in here. So with my type 2 selected, now there's something you have to know about Photoshop. For the alignment, you just have left align text, center align text, and right align text. If you want to justify, you have to go a little bit deeper, and what I mean is just use your type to create a selection like so, some sort of rectangle like this. Now everything you type in here is going to be justified within that rectangle, so none of them is going to be going outside. Now let me show you an example of these two so that you can get what I mean. I'll just turn these off like so. I don't remember the font size I used for this, so 14. I'm just going to be using the same thing for this. I'll change this to 14. Now the best thing to do is to make sure that everything is in the right order. So currently this is the center alignment. I want it to be left aligned, so I'll place it somewhere around here, and you can see that none of the text is exceeding it. Now if I stretch it out a little bit, you can see that the text is also moving inwards like so. Now let's just say we didn't create a selection like so and we placed our information in there. Now if I just click and I put my information in there, then I'll have to come to probably this end, hit enter and move this to the next text. Then I'll come to this end again, hit enter. So I think this is a lot of work and I don't want to be going through that. So just creating a selection like so and pasting your information is a lot faster. So I think probably this area I'll do that because I don't like the hyphen that is coming in like that. So I'll move this slightly to the edge like so, and I think everything is coming in beautifully. Unfortunately this thing is looking a little bit huge for me, so what I'll do is I'll reduce the size to probably around 18, and I'll do the same for this, probably around 18, and I'll resize how big the shapes are. So I'll highlight the whole of this text, group them up and call them probably profile, so that everything is organized for me. Now again, for the rounded rectangle and profile, I'll duplicate that and place them on top. This time around I'm going to create a group for them and call them scales. Now to create a group is just Ctrl G. Okay, so I'll place, I'll click and drag this somewhere around here, and I'll highlight the text and call this scales, and I'll hit on OK. So I have a bunch of skills listed here. It's not everything I'm going to be using, but for now I'm just going to highlight everything like so. So with my type tool again, I'll just type everything in the, again I'll change my color to black, and I'll change the font size to 14. So we have graphic design, we have photo editing, we have web design, photography, and a bunch of others. I think I'll even leave communications out. So these 4 should be okay for me, and I'll place them somewhere around here. Now to create a loading bar for these texts, we will still be using the rounded rectangle tool, so make sure that is still selected, and I'll create a shape like so. If I zoom in a little bit, I'll just make sure that this shape is duplicated. For the one on top, I'll change the color to this blue, and the one beneath is just going to remain black. So if I move the one which is blue somewhere around here, you can see that we have the black one beneath it. So that is going to be the percentage of how much you know in graphic design. So I'll place it somewhere around here. I'm pretty confident about myself, so that's what I'll say. Now I'll highlight these same 2 rectangles we just created, the rounded rectangles, duplicate them using Ctrl J, and I'll bring the second one here. So let's just say photo editing, I'm not so good. I'll place it somewhere around here. I'll select these 2, I'll duplicate them, I'll bring the second one somewhere around here. Sorry. And basically that's it for the skills part. Now there's one more thing I have to add, that is for references. So I'll actually duplicate this group, and I'll call this references, and I'll open it up like so. Now we don't need all of this shape. I'm just interested in the text, so I'll bring with the group selected, I'll bring my information down like so. I'm also not interested in the whole of this, so I'll highlight and just delete them. Now I'm actually going to type in references available upon request, so that's what I'm going to paste in here, and I'm also going to type references in here also. I think there's something wrong with my spelling. Now it seems for this I have to increase the size, so that's what I'm going to do. And basically that's it. We are done for the left part. Now let's go on to create everything on the right. So click on the new group icon and name this right by double clicking. So for the first part, now we have all of this information down. I'll go ahead and delete them. For the first part, we have the professional summary. So I'll create a group within that, right? So with my rectangle tool selected, I'll just create a rectangle like so. Again, double click and select this color theme because I want everything to be consistent. Then I'll select my type tool and I'll type in that info, which is professional summary, and I'll place it somewhere around here. Now I'll increase this slightly. You know what, let's zoom in and see if this is covering up the space we want. So I think I'll reduce the size a little bit so that the text can be somewhere around the center of our rectangle, and I'll place this somewhere around here also. Now again, I'll grab the rest of my information and just copy that, create a selection just like before, and I'll paste that information in there. Change the color back to black. Now with my move tool, I'll just try to align this perfectly the way I want. I think for this time around I'll be using the 14 point because 18 is looking too huge for me. So basically that is it. I'm just going to copy this and I'll paste it in here so that I don't confuse myself. So I'm basically going to be duplicating the professional summary. So Ctrl J to duplicate, use my move tool to bring it somewhere around here, and I'll copy the rest of my information. So for professional experience, I'll just highlight this and I'll type it in there, and I'll copy all of this information, Ctrl C, I'll come and paste them in here. So Ctrl V, if I extend it, you can see everything. Now this is looking overwhelming, so all you can actually do is just take some time to rearrange all of that. Now the best thing to do is just to use the tab on your keyboard to move this instead of using the space bar, because it's going to make everything align perfectly for you. You can try that and see. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to rearrange everything I have in here, and I'll be with you in a second. Okay, so I'm done, but I realized that when all the fonts are about the same size, I have some of my text running into the duration. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is, for the text that is beneath the main information, I'm going to reduce the size to somewhere around 9, and I'll basically be doing the same for this as well. Okay, so I think this is looking much better than what we had previously. So again, I'm going to duplicate this. So you know what, I'll just copy this so that I can paste it in here and not confuse myself when I'm editing later. So Ctrl J to duplicate. This time around, the information we have is leadership experience, so I'll be putting that in here. Now with that leadership experience selected, just use your move tool to move it down to somewhere around here, trying to make sure that the spacing here is quite similar to that. You can use a ruler if you want to. So that is going to be the information here, and I'll paste it in there like so. The rectangle is too long, so I'll reduce the size, and I'll be using the same information. So basically we are going to be doing the exact same thing we did for the top info. So we have one last information, that is the education background, and I'm going to do the same thing like we did previously, and we will be done for this tutorial. And we are done, but there's one last thing I would like to do. Instead of leaving this place so blank like it is right now, I'll just use the rectangle tool. I'll create a rectangle like so, just a random rectangle which will cover up the entire space. So something like this, and probably I'll duplicate it and I'll make the top one much smaller. So something like this, just to create some sort of design at the bottom instead of leaving it so blank. You can also go ahead and reduce the opacity to around 80. In case you want this exact PSD, you can download it using the first link in the description below. And as always, I think that is all. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like to watch more of my videos, hit that subscribe button, and as always, don't forget to share with your family and friends. This is Theo from Fino Concept, and I'll see you guys in the next one.